What if you combine Doomsday with Ad Nauseam Tendrils and Legacy? Today we're playing a twist on the deck that made top 8 of the recent Legacy Challenge. Let's go check it out. This video is proudly sponsored by Card Market. Doomsday meets Ad Nauseam Tendrils, and it's all thanks to James, aka Pizza of the Storm Discord, and everybody loves pizza. Well, James wanted to see this deck that recently made top 8 of the Legacy Challenge, but wanted to see my take on it, my twist. So first we'll go over what the deck is, why it works, and then I'll discuss my changes from the Legacy top 8 deck list. So how can you possibly combine Ad Nauseam Tendrils, the Ad Nauseam plus Past in Flames deck, alongside Doomsday? Well, I think in order for you to understand, you have to know what the shells of these decks look like. They're both decks that play Lion's Eye Diamond, Lotus Petal, Brainstorm, Ponder, Dark Ritual, and then discard spells. So there's a lot of natural overlap. Both decks are rewarded from having, a 3 black mana instant that makes 3 black into either Doomsday or Ad Nauseam. Okay, so those things make sense. Doomsday only traditionally plays one copy of Lion's Eye Diamond, while Ad Nauseam Tendrils wants the full playset because of Infernal Tutor. So that is a natural difference there. And then Doomsday requires a little bit of building around with cards like Edge of Autumn and Consider. But when you look at traditional Ad Nauseam Tendrils deck lists, like the one down here that I played a few months ago, you'll see that there's some flex spots like Reign of Filth or Preordain. And I don't think Preordain is a card that has aged particularly well in Legacy. The London Mulligan has made it sort of obsolete, in my opinion, or at least, in most decks, I will say. So this deck has no copies of Preordain and no Reign of Filth. Well, it's actually pretty interesting because Edge of Autumn and Consider are both on par with Preordain, in my opinion, but like Reign of Filth, they both fill the graveyard for Cabal Ritual. So Edge of Autumn puts 2 cards to the graveyard. Consider can put 2 cards to the graveyard, making Cabal Ritual have Threshold more easily. Okay, now we're about to get to a change that I've made. I've cut the 4th copy of Cabal Ritual. So I've played a lot of Ad Nauseam Tendrils in my life, and most people sideboard out the 4th Cabal Ritual in almost every matchup. If we're sideboarding it out in almost every matchup, why don't we just cut it? So I ended up putting in a 2nd copy of Edge of Autumn to help make the Doomsday package better. So cycling in, once you've resolved Doomsday, you want a cycler in your hand so that way you can win more easily. The other list had 1, just so that way you could clear your deck for the Thassa's Oracle. Well, when you have 2, you're better at clearing your deck, but on top of that, you're less likely to lose to a removal spell on your Thassa's Oracle, which is something that I wanted. So you could cycle after Doomsday more easily, and you're less likely to lose to removal while filling your graveyard for the Cabal Ritual. You're still the classic Past in Flames deck that can win using the graveyard. You can win without using the graveyard using Ad Nauseam, or you can, win with Doomsday that also doesn't use the graveyard, and then win that way without necessarily using all of your life total and risking death. So there's a lot of ways that this works. In the sideboard, there's 8 forces between Force of Negation and Force of Will. These come in for the combo matchups, not necessarily control, because against control decks, discard spells are generally just better. And then Leyline of the Void. Reanimator and Oops All spells are all over Legacy Leagues. We want dedicated graveyard removal, so we're playing Leyline of the Void. This is a change from the list that made top 8 of the Legacy Challenge. We still have the Empty the Warrens and then 2 bounce spells. So the list is only slightly different. There's an Edge of Autumn over the 4th Cabal Ritual. I cut the Volcanic Island for a 2nd copy of Underground Sea. There's 2 red cards in the deck. 1 Badlands will be fine. And then I added Leyline of the Void into the sideboard. So those are pretty much the changes. I think that this deck list actually makes a lot of sense, and I'm excited to play today. Hopefully you enjoy watching. If you do, like, comment, subscribe, support the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. But that's all I've got for now. Hopefully you enjoy the gameplay, and I'll see you in the first round. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com patreon.com/donation-dex. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Match number 1, we're on the play. Let's go. Yeah, we keep these. Excited to be playing this sick combo deck today. So what I'm less excited about is that there's 3.5 feet of snow outside my office right now. And today when I woke up, it was 4 degrees Fahrenheit outside, so a pretty cold day. And I mention this because I am wearing a lot of layers today. And sometimes I get people that think that they're comedians in the comment section. They're like, Bryant, why are you wearing so many layers? I live in upstate New York. That's the real answer. And it's cold here, so deal with it. I'm pretty comfortable. Why does my layers bother you? So I could have played out the Lotus Petal and just jammed the Ad Nauseam. Well, I could be punished here. I decided to wait because I wanted the Thoughtseize, and we're facing Oops All spells, so I am in fact punished. Brutal. Yeah, okay, welcome to Legacy. If I had jammed, we would have won. Well, likely would have won. It's not a guarantee. But I wanted the ability to Thoughtseize to protect my Ad Nauseam, so bummer. And you might be saying, Bryant made a play mistake here. I would do that same play all over again. I don't think that was actually a play mistake. All right, so now we're going to do the sideboard plan where we bring in a bunch of blue cards. And now we'll bring in Leyline of the Void as well. So we have a lot of cards coming in. You could even bring in the Empty, the Warrens, and the Echoing Truths as well, just to increase your blue count. Because right now we have, let's do some counting here. I believe after you board in all the blue cards, you're at like 19 blue cards. So you want the ability to, we have 20. Okay. So you want 20 cards gives you a 40% chance of having a Force of Will plus a blue card. When you have Force of Negations as well, I believe the number's like 76% off the top of my head. It might be wrong, but it's near there. All right, so we're at 75. In my opinion, you're supposed to board out the Ant part of the deck because the Doomsday part will get the job done and the Doomsday package is a lot smaller. So you can board out the Ad Nauseams, the Infernal Tutors. You could probably get rid of the Past in Flames. You don't need Tendrils or Empty. And we're at 67. You could board out 3 copies of Lion's Eye Diamond. You could probably even board out a Lotus Petal. Probably don't need the Echoing Truths, but I do like the increased blue count. Maybe we can get away with less because of the Leyline of the Void. That would be 61, and then maybe we get rid of a land. The basic island, maybe? Or another Lotus Petal. We'll get rid of the island. Could also try getting rid of a Cabal Ritual. No, we'll do this. Alright, so we've boarded into just Doomsday. On the play. We will keep Leyline of the Void, Undercity Sewers. So I could have played Pluto Delta Thoughtseize. We'll keep the Dark Ritual on top. I don't want to do that because if I go Pluto Delta Thoughtseize, I don't have a fetch land for my Brainstorm on turn 2. And that is something I am prioritizing when I have the safety of Leyline of the Void. They play Unmask. So I'm going to lose the Brainstorm most likely. And they do in fact take the Brainstorm. Is this a Belcher? Boggart Trawler Beatdown. Okay. That's where we're at. I'm about to draw a Dark Ritual that I don't really want. We'll play Undercity Sewers. I mean, I could, but I definitely don't want this Cabal Ritual. So if I Thoughtseize, it takes a full turn off my life total, or off the clock. So I'm going to hold Thoughtseize, because there's not a whole lot they can do off 3 cards. They attack with the Boggart Trawler, Thassa's Oracle. That's not a card I can use here. We'll play the Pluto Delta, pass. So if I find a Doomsday, we have a win. They attack for 3. I go to 14. Another Unmask, exiling Balustrade Spy. They take the Oracle. So if they have another Boggart Trawler, I lose. Or if they reanimate my Oracle. Need a Doomsday. Let's... Edge of Autumn, I'll sacrifice... We'll float a black. We'll Edge of Autumn sacrifice the Undercity Sewers. Ponder. We'll keep the Ponder. Fetch. And now we'll cast Ponder. We don't need any of these. We'll shuffle. Another Leyline. Pass the turn. They swing for 3. We go to 10. Another Dark Ritual. Things are not looking good. Boggart Trawler comes in. We'll go to 7. Land number 2 for them. Doomsday. So if I play Doomsday, I will go to 3 life and die to the Boggart Trawler. So I need a way to get into my pile. Or I would have needed one more life. We will pass the turn. So I need to draw a Brainstorm, a Ponder, my remaining Edge of Autumn, or even the solo Consider. So this will put me to 4. And next turn, if I go to 1, I can't play Doomsday, so I will have lost the game. Undercity Informer. Okay, needs to be a card that draws cards. Another Dark Ritual. That is not good enough. We have lost. Oops All Spells beats Leyline of the Void, and we are 0-1 to start off this Legacy League. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Match number 2 on the play. Yorion Sky Nomad. We will keep Undercity Sewers, Surveil. We don't need another Infernal Tutor that can go to the graveyard. Our opponent plays a Verdant Catacombs. If I had to guess, this is some sort of Beanstalk control deck. Basic Forest, Burgeoning. Maybe I'm wrong. What are you up to over there? Lion's Eye Diamond is a good find. Let's play Ponder looking for another land. If we don't find one, we will shuffle. We do find Doomsday, so we're pretty close to a win next turn. Dark Ritual would be the card that would allow that, because I could go Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize, Cabal Ritual, Doomsday, Lion's Eye Diamond, cycle Edge of Autumn into a win. Crop rotation. I have no idea what our opponent's playing. They find Wasteland. Well, I will cycle Edge of Autumn. We draw Badlands. They still have 5 cards in their hand. I do draw Dark Ritual, but now I don't have the cycler. So I could go Dark Ritual into Doomsday. So they can put a land into play here. Ghost Quarter. We'll play Dark Ritual. Are you going to waste me in response? They do not. Let's play Thoughtseize. Treasure Hunt and Mulch. Okay, this deck is wild. We'll take the Treasure Hunt. And I'm 1 card off a threshold here. We'll play Lion's Eye Diamond, Cabal Ritual, and Doomsday. We want to put the basic island in there because we have Brainstorm. And then we need Thassa's Oracle. We probably want Edge of Autumn to consider, and maybe Underground Sea. Okay, so we'll put the island on the bottom, consider above that. I'm sorry, Oracle above that. And then we'll do consider Underground Sea, Edge of Autumn. So now we go and grab our basic island. Interesting that they did it there, because now I can theoretically win. Let's Brainstorm. And the Edge was the bottom card, so I have to try to win next turn. We'll put Oracle on top with Infernal Tutor above it. Pass the turn. So I thought about cracking the Lion's Eye Diamond there, and then I was like, what if I can't get to the Oracle? And I freaked out and I decided against it. Obviously, it would have worked. But I was like, what if for some reason it just didn't? And I started to freak out. But I guess no matter what I drew, it probably would have worked because there was 2 draw spells in there. But I was worried, like, what if I hit like Island, Consider, Edge? But I think even that wins. So I think I just made a mistake of not cracking the diamond. Okay, so we can... I don't want to play our land for them to put in a land, so we'll hold priority, cast Consider, crack this for 3 blue, keep the Oracle on top, play Thassa's Oracle. In reality, I probably should have won last turn. I'm not really sure what our opponent's doing. We'll bring in a few copies of Echoing Truth, I guess. Maybe shave 1 Thoughtseize like an Edge of Autumn. Try this out. I mean, this looks pretty good to me. We just need a little bit more mana. Tropical Island, Exploration, Beseiju, Mana Bond. Yeah, you've got it. They don't discard their hand. We draw another copy of Infernal Tutor, which could be used to go grab another Dark Ritual next turn. We'll grab the basic Swamp. Let's play Thoughtseize. We'll take the Winding Way. They can come back for the Flusterstorm later. Also, an advantage this list has, our opponent boarded in Dismember for our Thassa's Oracle. Ad Nauseam Tendrils usually doesn't have that luxury. They draw Ghost Quarter, so they can destroy my swamp and I'll go grab an island. Okay. It's a little annoying because the swamp would have been better. Doomsday's a great find. We'll play Duress, take the Flusterstorm, pass the turn. So we know that they have a Dismember, and that's it because they played their land for the turn. Lion's Eye Diamond. I believe we have a win here, so I can go Dark Ritual, Infernal Tutor, reveal Lion's Eye Diamond, and then Infernal Tutor into Ad Nauseam. We don't have enough resources in our graveyard for Past in Flames to work here, but I believe this should win. Ad Nauseam with the black mana floating. And if not, we can always just stop because our opponent is doing nothing. So we will hold priority on Infernal Tutor, and then we'll add black. Storm count is 5. Actually, if I had gone, hold on, I want to think this through. I might have had a Past in Flames win. If I had gone Past in Flames floating 2, Dark Ritual would bring me up to 4. Infernal Tutor for another Lion's Eye Diamond would be 5 mana, so Infernal Tutor for Tendrils is 1 short. That doesn't work. Alright, so it was Ad Nauseam the whole time. We'll play Ad Nauseam. Storm 6, 1 black mana floating. And I believe we have not played a land. Okay, Doomsday, not a great reveal. No mana so far. There's a Dark Ritual, so we could just stop Dark Ritual Doomsday. But at 9 life, we can continue to flip. There's our Oracle. Nothing can kill me. There's another Lion's Eye Diamond. So Lotus Petal here would win. No Petal yet. There's a Petal. We'll stop at 5. Play Dark Ritual. Oh, I forgot I had the land. Whoops. I guess I had it for a while longer than I thought I did. That's okay. We do have to beat a Dismember here, but that should be pretty easy. We'll play Cabal Ritual, Duress them, take that, and let's put Doomsday on the stack. So I could even put Tendrils in there. That's kind of fun. So we'll put Tendrils, Infernal Tutor, Edge of Autumn. I don't know, Dark Ritual. This pile doesn't matter. We'll hide the Past in Flames because they'll never see it. And then we will put Past in Flames on the bottom. Edge of Autumn, Infernal Tutor, Edge of Autumn, Dark Ritual, Tendrils. We'll play Ponder. We'll draw into Tendrils of Agony. I guess I'm 1 short, so I'd have to Ponder again into the Dark Ritual. I almost messed this up. For some reason, I was thinking that I had 1 more mana floating, but it's okay. This is a strange deck. My heuristics are definitely a little bit off. We'll play Dark Ritual and Tendrils of Agony. Boom! That was sweet. Click, click, boom. So obviously I'm learning as I go. I have not played this deck before, and I'm making some minor misplays here or there. But ultimately, I don't feel like I've played this league terribly. I really wouldn't have just jammed an Ad Nauseam game 1 in the blind. Game 2 of that first match didn't really go our way. Here, you know, maybe I could have thought through some things a little bit longer, but ultimately we still got the W. So we're 1-1 now. There's 3 matches left to go. I'd like to get some more wins. I think that this deck is actually pretty sweet, and hopefully we win those, so stick around and find out if we do. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Match number 3, we are on the play. This is sweet. Keep. This just looks like Doomsday. Alright, Underground Sea into Thoughtseize. And they're on Goblins. We'll get rid of the Goblin Lackey, I suppose. Pass the turn. Arid Mesa, I would guess that they're likely going... Oop, I closed off the wrong fetch land, but I would guess that they're going to play Aether Vial. Lotus Petal. That is not enough for me to win this turn. You might be saying, yes, it is, Bryant, you're wrong. I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. It does not win this turn. Unfortunate. So even though I have open mana and a card in my hand, Ponder costs mana. If this was a cycler, I could get a little bit closer, but it just doesn't get there. Like, I could also Ponder into Brainstorm, but that requires me having more cards to put back. So this is not a win this turn, but we can set up to win. We want Thassa's Oracle, Edge of Autumn, probably put in like a Thoughtseize. There it is. And then maybe another land, the other Underground Sea. So we'll put the other Underground Sea in the bottom, Oracle above that, and then the pair of Edge of Autumns. Put Thoughtseize on top, we'll Ponder, and we will keep the Thoughtseize, and then discard them here. We'll take the Munitions Expert, pass the turn. They play their Wooded Foothills. So we know about Raucous Theater, this Raid Goblin, and another Aether Vial. Okay. So we'll draw Edge of Autumn. We'll make a blue, sacrifice Underground Sea, sacrifice the island, and now we draw Oracle, play the Oracle, and win the game. Sweet. We probably want Echoing Truth. The question is, what do I board out? Maybe a few copies of Duress versus Goblins. I don't think that this is like an amazing Duress matchup. You could even bring in the Empty over Duress, and I think that would be okay. Let's try this. Our Ad Nauseam will not be very good. Let me tell you that. You could even consider boarding out the Ad Nauseam here if you so choose. I don't think that would actually be crazy. Maybe we'll bring a Duress back in. I think that this hand is a trap. You just get wastelanded and do nothing. But even if you don't get wastelanded, your hand is nothing. We will mulligan. This is much better. Get rid of Echoing Truth. So the Doomsday wins often don't need to answer hate. It's like one of the things that Doomsday does well. So I'm choosing to bottom the Echoing Truth there. Our opponent's taking a mulligan to 2. They're digging for something. And they just concede. Well, that's one way to get a match win. We are now 2-1. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Hey everyone, sorry there was a technical issue of me apparently not hitting the record button correctly. We're in the middle of Game 2 versus Matt Chow, who posts articles on Reddit regarding legacy metagame data. Game number 1, I managed to resolve an Ad Nauseam and then never found anything. And now we just played a Thoughtseize and found literally all the interaction in the world. So I guess it's just a force of negation. I shouldn't complain too much. But I'm sorry that my inability to hit record did not capture Game 1. The Ad Nauseam ended up being a Doomsday, a Tendrils, a Thoughtseize, and I ended up having to stop at like, I want to say like 7 to 8, and then try again next turn. But Matt had brainstormed into multiple pieces of interaction, which was enough to slow me down, and then a Dragon's Rage Channeler eventually killed me. We're in game number 2 now, where I might be able to win here. It depends on what our opponent's brainstorm finds. We'll take the force of negation. I am so sorry for not capturing game number 1. All right, so they will have the ability to brainstorm and try to find a force, which isn't something that we're going to be able to beat. So if they have a force that they can brainstorm into, you know, they got me. But we're going to attempt to play Dark Ritual here. Another Dark Ritual, Lion's Eye Diamond, hold priority, we will play Infernal Tutor, and then we'll add 3 red. Infernal Tutor on the stack. Here comes the Brainstorm, which will be Storm 7. Brainstorm gets 4 looks here to find another force. 1 off the Channeler, 3 off Brainstorm. Infernal Tutor. So we can go Infernal Tutor Tendrils, and that would be exactly 18. It would lose to Double Daze, but I think that's better than losing to Surgical. So we'll play another Infernal Tutor and Tendrils of Agony. Target you. Sweet. We've taken game number 2. I boarded out the Ad Nauseam for Empty the Warrens. You might be saying, Bryant, you're facing a blue deck. Why not bring in Force of Will? That's not really how it works. Like, the countermagic in the sideboard is really for other combo decks. And the reason you don't bring in Force of Will is that you're a Lion's Eye Diamond deck through and through, and Lion's Eye Diamond and Force of Will are not friends. Basically, it's tough to play Infernal Tutor and Force of Will in the same deck because you have to discard your hand, and then once your hand is empty, your opponent plays their counter magic. So Force of Will is just really awkward. So Force of Will is really for stopping prison pieces like Chalice of the Void or quick wins. And now we have a Doomsday hand. So this is fine, but our hand being Badlands is weird. Game number 1, we also had Badlands, which was a problem for us because I wasn't able to play blue spells and it was just really awkward. I could try a slow Doomsday win here. I don't know if it would be good enough, but we could try. Dark Ritual. We'll play Duress. Wasteland, Spell Pierce. This is not good for me. We'll take that Force of Negation. Cabal Ritual. Doomsday. Alright, so how do I want to build this? We need the Oracle. I actually don't think there's much of a reason to try to beat their Spell Pierces. Like, it just doesn't seem like a winning battle for me. So I think maybe I'm supposed to just like put lands in my pile and then hope that they don't draw a Consign to Memory or Red Elemental Blast. So we can do 2 fetch lands and then 2 blue sources and then Oracle. So 4 lands, 2 of them being Thassa's Oracle, and then just try to fetch out the fetchables and win with Oracle. So we win in 3 turns. I think that's fine. Okay. Oracle on the bottom. Underground Sea, Island, Delta. Pass. So we know their hand is Wasteland, Double Spell Pierce, and Polluted Delta. I guess I lose to a Daze, assuming that they Wasteland my Badlands at some point. We'll play the Delta, pass the turn. They drew Brainstorm for turn. One of their best draws. Okay. Little surprised they didn't main phase it, though. Because if they had main phased the Brainstorm, they would have hit Delirium to make it so I have to try to win faster. So they're 1 card short of Delirium. I could try to consider here to make my pile a little faster. We'll grab the basic island, play Consider, keep the Oracle, and now I have a win next turn. They find Thundering Falls. This is definitely a spot where I wish that Cavern of Souls was in the deck. They play the Wasteland. Goodbye to Badlands. So I lose to a Daze, I lose to Force of Will. Red Elemental Blast or Pyroblast Consigned to Memory. We drew the Delta, which was our best draw because now Lightning Bolt wouldn't matter. We'll try the Oracle. Trigger on the stack. We got it! GG's, Matt Chow says. GG's back to you. Alright, well, we're 3-1. Things are looking pretty good, other than the fact that I accidentally didn't hit record for part of the match, but optimistic. Let's try to win match number 5 and finish this with a strong 4-1. The best Legacy podcast? That would be Eternal Glory featuring myself, Bryant Cook, alongside Brian Cabal and Phil Gallagher. We're available on all major podcast platforms and YouTube. The 5th and final round, guess what? We won the die roll again. On the play, I mean, this is turn 1 protection into Doomsday. I think we keep this. Alright, so Swamp, Dark Ritual. Play Duress. Well, yikes. I think we're supposed to take the Ponder and just try to win slowly through this Daze. We'll play Cabal Ritual, Doomsday. Alright, so we need Oracle. I wonder if the Consider pile beats the Daze next turn. So, Lion's Eye Diamond, Oracle, Edge of Autumn. We need a blue mana, so we can put the, I don't know, island in there. And then Consider. So we would draw the island, play Brainstorm, draw into Lion's Eye Diamond, Edge of Autumn, Consider, and then that would win. I believe this beats Daze. Okay, so Oracle goes on the bottom. And then the next 3 don't really matter all that much. And then Island is the top card. Pass the turn. This is where they reveal that they drew Show and Tell and we just lose. Yep. It's happening! It's happening! Oh my! Oh, I love Magic. Yep. Just getting dumpstered. Yep, and now they have a Troxit into Force of Will, and we just lost. Wow. Welcome to Magic. Yep. Outskilled. Okay. So we probably want the free counter magic. Oh my. We don't want Ad Nauseam, that's for certain. So we're at 67. We have to take something out here. I wonder if you're supposed to just take out the Doomsday package. That's 62, and then you board out the edges. Like, yeah, forces don't work well versus with your Lion's Eye Diamonds, but you stop them from winning, and then once you punch a hole with the discard spell, you could probably win. I want to try this. On the play for game 2. Sure, we will keep. I guess something I could have done in hindsight, which I don't know if I agree with, is I could have taken the Lotus Petal, so that way they couldn't even play the Ponder. But then you're just like, I'm daring you to not draw a land, which is the most likely outcome. And I'm sure there's going to be somebody in the comment section that has already left a comment about that. But they're so likely to draw lands. Like, it just seems a little foolish to me. We draw Force of Negation. Let's try Brainstorm. Okay. I think we just put 2 cards back for now. We're not winning for the next 2 turns, so we can just play discard go. They Brainstorm, fetching with Scalding Tarn, and a Ponder. They have 5 in hand. They shuffled off the Ponder. We'll play Thoughtseize. It's a whole bunch of Spell Pierces. We will take their Brainstorm. Pass the turn. They drew Volcanic Island. Let's try to play our Brainstorm. It resolves. I mean, I feel like I'm in the driver's seat here. I just need to not be too hasty. So we'll play this game nice and slow. Undercity Sewers. We'll keep the Dark Ritual on top. Pass the turn. Our opponent's thinking for a long time here, so they drew something which could have been a show and tell, sneak attack. I'm not quite sure what they drew. We'll just play the Polluted Delta and pass. They drew a land. We'll draw the Lion's Eye Diamond that we knew about. And now on their end step, I can go search out the other copy of Undercity Sewers. They have 5 cards. We'll fetch. Grab the Undercity Sewers. I don't think we want Underground Sea. Play the Ponder. Shuffle this. Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. And they're just drawing and passing. Another Infernal Tutor. A little awkward. I suppose I could go grab another Force of Negation. Infernal Tutor. We'll grab Force of Negation. Play Lion's Eye Diamond. Pass the turn. So now they know that I have counter magic. 3 mana here for a show and tell. They have double Spell Pierce backup. We will Force of Negation, exile Force of Will. They're going to Spell Pierce. We will fetch in response. Grab the basic Swamp. Dark Ritual. And they're going to Red Elemental Blast my Force of Negation. Okay. Dark Ritual. Spell Pierce can now clear. I could just hardcast the Force of Negation, which is probably the safest bet. Alright, we will play Force of Negation. Sorry, we're dealing with some lag issues right now. So they have Spell Pierce and double Atrox in their hand. Another Infernal Tutor. Not a very good draw. We'll pass. They have 5 cards in their hand. Dark Ritual. I guess I'll go grab another Dark Ritual. That would allow me to beat the Spell Pierce if we can find a discard spell. And they're like, technically, I don't need the discard spell, but if I don't want to lose to Force of Will, I do. And this is sort of the awkward tension between Infernal Tutor and Force of Will. They play Ponder. They shuffle fairly quickly. 6 cards, we know 3 of them. We finally draw a discard spell. Let's play it. Target you. And they did have a Force of Will. So now they just have the Lonely Spell Pierce. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. We will hold priority and cast Infernal Tutor. Sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond for 3 red. Grab the Past in Flames. We'll play it. The old turn 11 win. Classic combo deck. We'll Duress them because I can. I probably should have Duress first, but it doesn't matter. And now we'll play Infernal Tutor. Go grab the Tendrils of Agony. Target you. Sweet. Let's try it again. The final game of this Legacy League, I will keep. This hand is fine. It does not have a Force of Will effect, but double discard spell is still fairly good. Basic Mountain. That is a sign that the rest of their hand is very strong. Lotus Petal. We draw our island. I will fetch. Let's play Duress. It just resolves. We will take Show and Tell. Pass the turn. A little surprised they didn't try to Brainstorm there to protect it. And now we see the Brainstorm. Ancient Tomb. Grafdigger's Cage, sure. Play the Polluted Delta. Let's Brainstorm. Get rid of the Lotus Petal, and maybe we'll hide Duress on top. I might redraw Duress next turn. Pass. And now we'll replay Duress. Surgical and Lotus Petal. I guess we'll take the Lotus Petal. I don't know if I care about Surgical Extraction. Pass the turn. So I think I might even redraw the Lotus Petal that's on top of my deck, because in order to win now, I have to naturally chain a ton of spells. So if that's the case, I want free spells that make mana. They still have City of Traders, Surgical in hand. Let's play Brainstorm. We do not want Past in Flames. We probably don't need another Thoughtseize. I will fetch. Grab Underground Sea. Let's play Ponder. Storm will be 2. That's interesting. I think I'm short on mana. We'll keep this, though. Pass the turn. We'll start with Consider to get rid of the Undercity Sewers. Thoughtseize. Double Surgical. We'll take the Omniscience. So if I Brainstorm, that will be Storm 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm just short of lethal. Let's see what the Brainstorm finds. I mean, I think this gets the job done. We'll put Badlands, Ponder on top, play out Lotus Petal. Play out Lotus Petal. Duress, this will be Storm 6. Take a Surgical. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Infernal Tutor, Storm 10, floating 5 black mana. Grab the Tendrils of Agony, and we'll play it. Target you. So that means that we're going to finish off this league 4-1 after losing match number 1 to Oops All Spells. And I do feel like that game was, or that match was a little bit of an outlier. Like we were not able to really find anything game 2 after keeping a strong 7. I played at least 3 cantrips that game and just never found anything. So it was a little weird, but sometimes that happens. Game 1, I made the decision of not jamming Ad Nauseam in the blind. And I think that like when you're playing Ad Nauseam Tendrils with, you know, like I could have, like hypothetically, and it's what happened game 4 when I failed to hit record. I played Ad Nauseam with no mana floating, and after already using a Lotus, or did I say that correctly? I played Ad Nauseam, no mana floating after already using a Lotus Petal, meaning that there was 3 left in the deck. We would have been in the same position in that game 1, match 1, as I was in match 4, game 1. Where the deck just like revealed a bunch of Doomsdays and Tendrils and I couldn't win. So I'm not even sure if we would have won the game if I had played Ad Nauseam game 1, match 1. But, you know, 4-1 is still pretty good. What did I think of the deck? I liked it. In fact, I think that the concept of this is really smart, because something that Ad Nauseam Tendrils has always struggled with is beating Veil of Summer in the One Ring. The Doomsday half of this deck does that. And the other half of the deck beats the things that Doomsday's bad against. So I think that there's probably something here. Is my list perfect? Probably not. But I think it's closer than the list that top 8'd the challenge. I do believe you want 2 copies of Edge of Autumn. I never once felt like we were struggling for Cabal Rituals this league. And I ended up cutting the 4th Cabal Ritual because the heuristics of playing Ad Nauseam Tendrils tell you to board 1 out in post-board games. So I never missed it. The sideboard felt fine. I liked the forces. I liked the ley line. Empty seemed fine to swap with the Ad Nauseam versus tempo. Echoing Truths are fine versus mid-range and, you know, prison strategy. So everything makes sense to me. I'm not sure what I would cut or change. I just don't know if it's perfect, if that makes any sense. But I do appreciate you watching. James, thank you for the donation deck. I really do appreciate you. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And as always, keep storming. Hey you, yeah you, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're interested, you can visit theepicstorm.com/donation decks to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel. You can even join me in a video in the Epic tier. It's totally worth it, I promise. And see ya. Thanks for watching.